The field is clear today. There's still a chill in the air. The Stampeders and Eskimos, one of the great rivalries in sport, provincial pride on the line, but most importantly, a playoff date next week in Vancouver. 3 degrees Celsius, the wind is blowing, could howl later. It is cloudy, it is November football, and Jerome Messam and the Edmonton Eskimos are trying to protect their house.
And the big Edmonton Eskimos running back, Jerome Messam, is going to be one of the keys for this team today. He's been outstanding over the last 8 weeks this season. He's got to get it going to take the pressure off Ricky Ray. Likewise, John Cornish, running back for the Calgary Stampeders. Terrific since becoming a starter just after mid-season. He's got to help out first-year starter Drew Tate. John Hufnagel, 2-2 career playoff record, led his team to the 2008 Grey Cup. Kavis Reed, the architect of a remarkable turnaround here in Edmonton, a team that missed the playoffs a year ago, now hosting a playoff game. Both teams 11-7 during the regular season.
Damon Duvall will kick it off. The Calgary Stampeders, Larry Taylor is back. Two teams that had to make a lot of changes to get here. They've made them. The Battle of Alberta, playoff edition 2011 is underway. Taylor gathers it at his 20, looks for a seam, fights his way up over the 40-yard line, and the special teams for the Edmonton Eskimos, such a factor this year. Delroy Clark makes the tackle. All right, Drew Tate, it's your first CFL playoff date.
Drew Tate, the common consensus around the league is what Drew Tate has done very well. Manage the game, and one of the keys for him is going to be his running back, John Cornish, who has averaged nearly 8 yards a carry since becoming a starter. Mr. Consistency, Nick Lewis, a West Division All-Star again, is in the slot. Keep an eye on left tackle Edwin Harrison, banged up this week in practice.
A handoff right away to John Cornish, West Division All-Star. And the story this year, too, has been the Canadian backs, not only Cornish, but Jerome Messam, who, of course, is with the Eskimos. Our starting lineups, by the way, brought to you by Rona, proud supporter of the CFL and its 8 teams.
And one of the leaders of the Edmonton defense, Marcus Howard, 11 sacks in just 13 games this year, including 2 against Calgary. Mark Rastelli in for an injured J.C. Sherritt in the linebacking core. Rod Williams, a leader in the secondary, West Division All-Star on the corner.
Second down, 7 yards to go. Throwing down here for Drew Tate. Here comes the heat. Lets it go far side in an overthrow. And a quick 2-and-out for the Calgary Stampeders. A team that has had fewer 2-and-outs than any other team in the CFL this season. And also a team that usually starts by scoring on its first possession, but not this time.
Big victory for the Edmonton Eskimos on that opening possession. We talked a lot about this in Calgary's regular season finale. Critical for this team to be successful running the ball with Cornish, stay out of second and long situations. Edmonton's got a pretty good pass rush. Marcus Howard, the guy who leads the way in that department.
Leading punter in the Canadian Football League, Burke Dales. Penalty flag flies. Jason Armstead collects it at the 29-yard line. Driven backwards, but we will sort out this penalty. It was on the snap of the football. Murray Clark is our referee today. Umpire is Richie Miller, head linesman Dave Foxcroft. Looks like it's against the Stampeders.
Too many men on the field. Calgary, 10-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
So better field position coming for the Eskimos.
I'll tell you, plenty of ill will between these two football teams coming into this game, the Battle of Alberta. This was during the introductions. Teams nose to nose, ready to get things started right away. And after the last play, Marcus Howard giving John Cornish the shoulder as both guys are just heading towards their sidelines, sending a little message, a little psychological warfare happening out there in the trenches.
Kavis Reed knows everything about this rivalry. So does John Hufnagel. They've been on both sides of it. Now Burke Dales 10 yards back, averaging 47.2 yards per kick this season. This is a bomb. This is a big, big punt. Jason Armstead back to his 15-yard line. 60-yard kick with the breeze for Birkdale's. Ricky Ray, who knows what Drew Tate is going through. Ricky Ray went through the same thing 9 years ago when he made his first CFL playoff start. He led his Eskimos to the Grey Cup game that year.
Well, Ricky Ray had a little bit longer time during the regular season to settle into the role than did Ricky Ray. But here today, keep an eye on Jerome Messon in the backfield. Seemed like the last Calgary game was a turning point in his season. Darius Bowman, a monster last week to finish the season. Offensive Player of the Week in the CFL. Greg White, their top lineman, is out. Ramsey and Kabongo started guard.
Hand off right away. They establish that run. Interesting to see John Cornish get the first touch for Calgary and Jerome Messam the first touch for the Eskimos.
Well, no doubt these two teams are going to establish that ground game early. They both know the importance of it. Should it get to those passing downs, Charleston Hughes, one of the guys trying to get pressure for the Calgary Stampeders on Ricky Ray. He leads the team with 7 sacks. Malik Jackson back into the lineup at the weak side linebacker spot. Robert McCune is out. Juwan Simpson bumps back into the middle. In the secondary, Demetrius Morley, a big part of the Stamp second down blitz.
It's 2 men on the line, 3-man rush here. Penalty on the play. Ricky Ray, Jason Barnes gathers it in up near the 45-yard line. But again, we'll have to check what this penalty is about. The Stampeders are signaling that it's against the Eskimos.
Offside. Edmonton number 4. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Darius Bowman, so 5 yards back. It'll be second down and 12 to go.
Darius Bowman, number 2 receiver, second from the sideline, a little bit ahead of the play. See him trying to tiptoe and hold it up, but just unable to slow it down.
No doubt. Throwing down again. 3-man rush again. Ray has time. Now goes over the middle and hit hard is Jason Armstead by Juwan Simpson. Juwan Simpson back in the middle linebacker for the Calgary Stampeders. And Juwan Simpson levels Jason Armstead after he made that catch. So now the Eskimos will punt it away.
And Rod, you mentioned it. The Calgary Stampeders are giving this 3-man rush. One of those guys, the free safety, Demetrius Morley, coming off, lining up as essentially the right defensive end.
Ball's going to bounce out of bounds. Good field position here for the Stampeders when we come back. And the West Division semifinal. Eskimos renew hostilities. A berth to the West Division final next week on the line. Drew Tate, his second series now. No points on the board yet. Nick Lewis in motion. So to Larry Taylor, the inside power sweep. Taylor strolls out near midfield. And a pickup of 8 yards on the play. It'll be second down and 2 yards to go. Let's go down to the sideline now and join Ryan Rashog. Ryan?
Yeah, Rod, just 3.7 yards per carry for Jerome Messon against the Calgary Stampeders this season. And we asked Kavis Reed earlier on this week to compare he and Cornish. And maybe Reed was thinking motivation with his answer, because he said Jerome's not going to like this, but Cornish might be a faster Jerome Messon. So, of course, we went right to Messon and said, what do you think of that? And he said, hey, anybody thinks he's faster, I'll be happy to line up with him.
Game on. There's Cornish, first down. Penalty flag on the far side of the field. Well, it has certainly been a compelling season following the exploits of Jerome Messam, John Cornish, and also Andrew Harris of the BC Lions.
Yeah, and people have made a big deal about the Canadian running backs.
Offside. Edmonton number 97. That penalty's declined. First down.
And to me, I'll tell you, we can stop talking about where these guys were born and raised. They're just great running backs. Jerome Messam and John Cornish have both been a big part of their team's success this season, particularly down the stretch.
It has been a history-making season, though, for the Canadian backs. And this time, Cornish is dropped right there by Damaso Munoz on the little screen pass. A loss of 4 yards on that play.
Well, the linebacker Munoz does a terrific job, not just recognizing that Cornish is trying to slip out for the screen, but also in terms of his execution on the play. He's got to avoid a couple of blocks here. Gets down low, makes himself skinny, and slips between the blockers. And into the backfield for the tackle. Terrific defensive effort from Damaso Munoz.
Munoz out of Rutgers. 2nd and 14. Drew Tate will go to the air here. To the near side of the field, Robbie Bryant quickly dropped by Chris Thompson. Thompson, one of only the 3 remaining pillars from last year's defense. TJ Hill, Chris Thompson, and Greg Peach. The only returners from that defense. 25 different faces on the 46-man roster for the Eskimos. They went through a full season facelift.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a complete makeover for one that has to be deemed a success. A non-playoff team a year ago, now in 2nd place, tied atop the division in terms of record, but 2nd place and hosting a playoff game here.
Dales is going to try to angle this one. The kick near the goal line, and it will bounce into the end zone. The Stampeders will get on the board first here with a single point in the West Division semifinal from Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. Division semifinal after what we saw out east. Hamilton Tiger Cats heading to Winnipeg in overtime, defeating the Montreal Alouettes. Defending Grey Cup champions are out. Highest scoring playoff game ever, 52-44. Ricky Ray on the roll, looks for Hugh Charles and then finds Darius Bowman behind him right near the first down marker.
We're already seeing a lot of different looks defensively from the Calgary Stampeders. We talked about that 3-man rush early on. We got to look at Darius Bowman once again, lined up as number 2 in the slot. He's just running that quick out. Man in coverage, Quincy Butler lost his footing, allowing Bowman to get a little bit of separation on the play. But we're going to see Demetrius Morley down in the box, getting near the line of scrimmage between the tackles a lot here today.
1st and 10, Eskimos from their 45. Ricky Ray again, back to Bowman again. So Darius Bowman picking up where he left off last week in the final game of the regular season. 13-yard gain for number 4.
Well, and it's been a great combination for Ricky Ray to find some balance in the receiving corps with Fred Stamps, Darius Bowman, and Jason Barnes. Now, all have had injury issues this year, but when all 3 are in the lineup, the Edmonton Eskimos are 8-3. When at least one of them is out, the team 3-4. All 3 in the lineup today. That gives Ricky Ray a lot of options in the passing game.
Fred Stamps and Darius Bowman ended up with the same yardage in receiving this year. Ray looking deep, but goes over the top. And again, Calvin McCarty out of the backfield this time. Picks up about half the first down yardage. Looks like about 4 yards from here. Down near the Calgary 47.5-yard line.
And terrific protection here by that Edmonton Eskimos offensive line. They make that shield around Ricky Ray. He feels comfortable. He's got lots of space. Doesn't feel pressured. He doesn't sense those white jerseys closing in on him. Makes it a whole lot easier for the quarterback to do his job.
Ray and the Eskimos have given up a lot of sacks this season. Only a 3-man rush again into traffic, and a first down for Jason Barnes down near the Calgary 30-yard line.
And a virtually identical situation in the line of scrimmage creates this opportunity. Again, Ricky Ray's got that cushion, that comfort zone. It's Superman's fortress of solitude he's throwing from back here. Plenty of time, and that allows him to thread the needle on his throw. Very accurate, just past the outstretched arms of Morley into the hands of Jason Barnes.
First and 10 again. Ray is off. Jerome Messam into the scrum, swallowed up. Jerome Messam is banged up this week, aggravated a lower body injury. Says his back is a little tight. It was earlier in the week. There was some question as to whether Jerome Messam might play today. No question yesterday when we asked Jerome Messam.
Yeah, I don't think anybody who knows Jerome Messam at all, I don't think there was a moment's belief that this guy was going to let anything keep him off the field for a playoff game here today.
He is intense, competitive, has a chip on his shoulder pad in a big way. That's the way he plays. 1,000-yard season for Jerome Messam. Deep drop for Ray. No one home. And And did that ball get to the line of scrimmage? It looks like it did.
Good veteran throwaway there for Ricky Ray. Boy, taking up the sack, giving up yardage for a team that he knows has had issues with this field goal team this year, Rod.
So it will be third down now for the Eskimos. And Derek Schiavone will come out. Damon Duvall has been doing the field goal kicking for most of the season, but Schiavone, a Western Mustang, 16 of 19 on the season, 84.2%. Duvall's been bothered by some kidney stones recently, but he's also been bothered by kicks.
Yeah, Damon Duvall just 67.6% success rate on his field goals. Schiavone 84.2%.
There's the hold and the kick. It's up and it is good. The Eskimos are on the board and in the early lead. 5:25 to go, first quarter.
Demetrius Morley gets in for the hurry, gets a hit on Ricky Ray in the process, much to the pleasure of his defensive coordinator, Chris Jones.
Kavis Reed talked yesterday about how important Chris Jones will be in this chess match that will go on today. Similarly, on the other side, Rich Stubler for the Edmonton Eskimos. Two great defensive masters at work here today. Once again, Larry Taylor, former outstanding special teams player and Alouette. And look out here, Taylor. The race is on. Weldon Brown knocks him out of bounds. Outstanding return from the outstanding Larry Taylor.
You think back to 2008 when the Edmonton Eskimos crossed over and ended up playing in that East Division final. They're having flashbacks to what Larry Taylor did to them in that game right here. Terrific job by the wedge, creating a crease for Larry Taylor. And there are the wheels. He's going to outrun the kicker, Weldon Brown, with the touchdown-saving tackle. Back in that 08 East semifinal, Larry Taylor had a couple of return touchdowns for the Owls against the Esks.
64-yard return. That kicker, of course, was a former teammate as well in Montreal, Damon Duvall. So now Drew Tate afforded excellent field position here on this series.
Procedure. Calgary number 63. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Well, Drew Tate talked yesterday about the importance of the run game to his success, feeling that, he doesn't feel like he needs to be the guy, like he needs to be making the big throws in order for his team to win. It feels that if they're successful running the ball, John Cornish in that offensive line, that opportunities will then open up to throw the football.
First and 15 after that penalty. Nick Lewis, his first catch. Nick Lewis, another all-star season, West Division all-star. Over 1,000 yards again. Second in the league in receptions at 93. That's a 5-yard pickup, so it'll be second down and 10 yards to go.
And Nick Lewis had to carry the load a little bit more this year in the passing game, as both Romby Bryant and Kenyon Rambo dealt with injuries at points during the season. Their production was down significantly from 2010. Nick Lewis picked up the slack.
Kenyon Rambo inserted last week after missing 4 games. There's Tate again, high shot, and it's picked off by T.J. Hill. T.J. Hill brings it up near the 50-yard line. And there's the first turnover of the ball game, and the Eskimos, who led the CFL in interceptions, have their first pick of the day.
Comes up with the pick, and he's got his eyes on Drew Tate all the way, looking at the quarterback's eyes. He knows where Drew Tate is looking to go with this football. Manages to jump that route to Johnny Forzani coming to the inside. T.J. Hill, the veteran, creates this game's first turnover. Good recognition, reading the eyes of the quarterback on that play, knowing that's going to take him to the ball.
Eskimos led the CFL in takeaway giveaway, plus 16, tied with Winnipeg for most interceptions. So far, Jerome Messon has had nowhere to run. Just a 2-yard pickup inside 4 minutes in this first quarter. Drew Tate, who's usually a lonesome soldier on that bench, he likes it that way. And as a backup, look at that clean number.
Yeah, through his career as a backup, 197 attempts, before he threw his first CFL interception as a starter. Well, now teams are starting to see a little more film on Drew Tate. 96 attempts, 5 interceptions.
A little more tape and also a lot more time for Drew Tate to be on the field. There's Ricky Ray, pressure, down he goes. First sack for the Calgary Stampeders. And it's Eric Fraser coming off the line. And the blitz works to perfection.
Yeah, absolutely. Eric Fraser. He and Demetrius Morley, both similar roles in this defense. Listed as free safeties, but when it gets to obvious pass situations, they're going to get in the game. Now, Jerome Messam picked the wrong guy there. He's got 2. He's got to pick the one closer to the inside, which means in that situation, he should have taken Fraser and let the outside guy with the longer path go.
Damon Duvall, again, a good number this year on the punts, and Larry Taylor this time weaves his way to the 32-yard line, a 44-yard kick. Drew Tate, who 3 weeks ago ostensibly came in to maybe send a message to Henry Burris to get things together. Well, that message morphed into a new era for the Calgary Stampeders.
Yeah, well, I think John Huffnagel sensed when he made that change that he was making that change for the rest of the season, barring injury. A lot of confidence in Drew Tate. He just felt that it was the time to make that move. Tate ready to start. He's 3-0 as a starter, looking to run that to 6.
Tate looks one way, then the other. Downfield for Rombie Bryant. He's got it. The foot race on. And Rombie Bryant makes a great catch behind Rod Williams on a spectacular throw from Drew Tate.
Well, this is what you need from your receivers in big games, partner. Guys to come up with plays to help out the quarterback. Drew Tate, this one took a little while to develop, and essentially he threw this football up, just putting his confidence in Rombie Bryant. Bryant's down the sideline. Widest receiver on this play. Tate takes a while. Nothing opens up to the other side. Double clutches. Throws it up. Bryant's covered. But then separates, explodes to go get the football for a big play.
What a terrific toss. John Cornish splitting the middle. Draws company. Very close to a first down. And if it is, it'll just be outside that 10-yard line. 9-yard gain. Rombie Bryant. His numbers down this season. 1,000-yard season last year. 632 this season. But again, a guy like Drew Tate, one of the things that Drew Tate has shown, a propensity to spread the wealth.
Yeah, no question. One of the other factors in that personality of Drew Tate, tremendous confidence. A young quarterback who's thrown an interception on his previous pass, comes right back out, throws a ball to a guy who appears to be covered, but takes a chance and puts it up there.
Henry Burris comes in short yardage. John Cornish, short yardage pickup inside close to the 5-yard line, where the Stampeders will go first and goal. And under the heading, who would have thought that there would be no Joffrey Reynolds in the Calgary Stampeders lineup come playoff time? Who would have thought that Henry Burris would be a short yardage specialist and Drew Tate would be the starter? Henry Burris was the most outstanding player in the CFL last year.
Well, he was, but the growth like this from Drew Tate has been huge, and you're going to see him look from one side to the other on this play. Initially, you see him look left, then to the right, the complete opposite of what you saw in the interception on the previous play, where TJ Hill saw him get locked in on one guy. That created the interception. Drew Tate's not going to let that happen again.
There's Dave Dickinson, such a great quarterback in the CFL. Of course, his career really shortened by head injuries and concussions. Dickinson now offensive coordinator for John Huffnagel, and a guy who has really been a proponent of Drew Tate since he started watching Drew Tate as the backup to Henry Burris. Well, welcome to Larry's World, the all-new series, only in America with Larry the Cable Guy. Premieres tomorrow at 10 Eastern and Pacific, only on the Comedy Network. Injured player on the field. Yeah, you get a sense being around Drew Tate. And, you know, this is a big game. It's his first playoff start. But Drew Tate has played in some very big games before, and he has been a hero in big games. Back a few years ago at the Capital One Bowl as the starting quarterback for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yeah, I remember watching that game and seeing Drew Tate lead his team to late victory. But he's a guy he's unfazed by this. And it's not a blasé attitude like Drew Tate takes anything for granted.
No, he's got fire in him.
Yeah, there's no intimidating Drew Tate.
First and goal. Tate shotgun. And on Cornish. John Cornish with the first touchdown of the game.
And we've seen John Cornish over the last couple years average 7+ yards a carry. You wonder how he does it. A lot of it starts in that backfield with the explosion this guy shows once he decides where he's going. Starts off, there's first gear, and all of a sudden, there's a hole. Slam it into fifth and into the end zone.
Cornish, first Canadian since the early 90s to get double-digit touchdowns since Dave Sapunjis. 11 touchdowns this season for John Cornish. That one almost a gimme for Cornish from 5 yards.
That's a good one right there. That one for Bex. That one for Bex right there.
John Cornish out of New Westminster, BC.
I'm having to run.
College ball in Kansas. And this is what he did this year, and the big number is that average, 7.7 yards over the last 7 games.
Yeah, absolutely remarkable. And you keep waiting for him to have that game where someone shuts him down and his average comes down a little bit more back to earth, somewhere between 5 or 6 yards a carry. But John Cornish just keeps getting it done.
Again, he averaged 7.3 yards per carry this season. The last Canadian back to do that back in 1960. Ron Stewart, the great Ronnie Stewart. John Cornish, you entered into some select company.
Yeah, no doubt.
Davis Reed and the Eskimos looking to respond now. 20 seconds to go in this opening quarter. 8-3 ball game. Mason Armstead, Charles are back and kind of switching sides. Nate Paradis will kick this off. Again, he has the wind. We'll see how the wind affects the play in the second quarter. The Eskimos will have it. And it goes to Armstead. Try to follow the wedge. Marcus Coker downfield makes the initial tackle. And 14 seconds to go here for Ricky Ray and the Eskimos.
Ricky Ray, much like we saw with Drew Tate, using his running back, John Cornish, and understanding, again, the importance of that ground game, what he's able to do offensively. Look at Ricky Ray over the course of this season. 3 games against the Calgary Stampeders. Eskimos won 2 of those games, only allowed 1 sack. In the 2 wins, in the 1 loss, they allowed 3 sacks in that one. Protecting Ricky Ray is key. A big part of that is forcing Calgary to respect the run.
Barring penalty, final play, opening quarter. Jason Barnes has it. Quick route. Brandon Smith makes the tackle, where Jason Barnes was gone. 27-yard gain. Teams will change sides. Eskimos get the win now. They trail the Calgary Stampeders 8-3 in the West Division semifinal. Drew Tate so much going into this game, and he's really on the, the marquee is this fresh new face, kind of shaggy-haired new face. Ricky Ray, it's not old hat to him, but because, he's been there before, but he didn't get here last year.
No, and this is the thing that Ricky Ray realizes. He was very fortunate early in his career. His first 3 CFL seasons, Ricky Ray made it to the Grey Cup every year. But once you've had a taste of being there, and particularly of winning, once you have a year where you don't make the playoffs, or a couple years where you don't make the playoffs, it's a very empty feeling. And you want to do whatever it's going to take to get back. And that's been something that's gnawed away at Ricky Ray, something that's been a motivation throughout this year as he's stepped forward, become more of a vocal leader than he's ever been with these Edmonton Eskimos in order to make sure they get back to a chance in the Grey Cup.
Yeah, the Hunter is back, 1st and 10. Ray stays in the pocket, and look out. He's swarmed and he's sacked. Ricky Ray had some time there, and all of a sudden the pocket collapsed.
Defensive end Chris McCoy, late season addition for the Calgary Stampeders. A guy expected to help boost this pass rush. He's coming from the top of your screen. Guy to try and balance things opposite Charleston Hughes on this defensive line. Great drive upfield, and then just falls back to the inside. The key to that rush was the push upfield by Chris McCoy.
Calgary Stampeders, who have not had proficient sack attack this season, but the Eskimos have given up a lot. Ray again's in trouble, and down he goes again. And there's Demetrius Morley creating havoc in the backfield. And this is going to be a theme that we're going to watch all game long. And going in, you knew the Eskimos, again, they gave up a number of sacks this season. The Calgary Stampeders did not have that many.
Yeah, and it was a matter of what was going to give. You know, which trend was going to break. You've got the Eskimos who allow a lot of sacks to Stampeders, a team that hasn't necessarily taken advantage of opportunities to get to the quarterback this year.
Off the side of the foot, Damon Duvall's kick. Larry Taylor up near the 32-yard line. 8-3 Calgary Stampeders. Chris Jones liking what he's seeing so far. Spectators, thousands of spectators here today in Edmonton. One very interested spectator is with Ryan Rishaug.
Yeah, Rod, thanks. With Dick Olin, father of Drew Tate. He threw a pick, came right back, threw a huge pass that ended up in a touchdown. Is that kind of what you've seen from your boy? You coached him in high school.
Oh, you know, when you throw the football, some things like that can happen. It was a good route, it was a good throw, and it was a good defensive play.
We notice he sits by himself down on the bench in between. You told him to do that. Why?
Well, you know, when I call plays, you know, I don't like to talk to people. I like to stay by myself. And, you know, Drew and I would talk a little bit, but, you know, you kind of clear your head. You get away from everything. You talk to your coaches, and then you go sit down and think about what you have to do in the next series.
Sounds like good advice, Dick. Enjoy the rest of the game. So far, so good.
So far, you're right. Thank you. Rod?
Well, proud papa so far, and that handoff again to John Cornish. Again, you know, at the beginning of the year, we were talking about Henry Burris handing the ball off to Joffrey Reynolds and usually doing something like that. Different time now for the Calgary Stampeders.
Passing the torch, but this is the result they want. Productive offense.
1st and 10 from the Edmonton 53. Cornish the hurdle, and another first down. John Cornish again above his average. Great cutback here from John Cornish.
Well, John Cornish isn't a tiny scat back by any means, but this guy has got some fantastic moves to make people miss. There's one, just freezes Damaso Munoz one-on-one in space. Here it comes. Don't blink or you'll miss it. Terrific run.
Well, as Kavis Reed said, he's very, very quick. They did mark the ball short of the first down marker, so it will be 2nd down and about a yard from the 44. Burris again for Marcus Coker. And, you know, you could talk about Joffrey Reynolds kind of losing his job to John Cornish. Remember, they went with a dual back system, kind of a platoon for a while, and that was the harbinger of what we were going to see. Marcus Coker is also a big reason why we're not seeing Joffrey Reynolds.
Yeah, no question. And this guy, the biggest part of his game is speed. Marcus Coker, an absolute blazer. And it's funny, you talk to coaches around the league and GMs about what John Cornish has done since coming into the lineup. One of the things they always add at the end is, yeah, that Coker guy scares the hell out of me too.
Oh, yes, he does. 1st and 10. Tate. Little roll to Nick Lewis. And he dropped the football, but it had been whistled, and Nick Lewis does it again. But looks like he hurt his left knee, and that is not looking good for the veteran receiver, the all-star. And that was at the end of that play.
It looked like that left leg might have been caught as the weight of his body was going forward as he lunged forward. Possibly hyperextended that knee. Right at the end of the play, right here. Lewis took a shot right on that knee on the tackle.
Great hole there. Weldon Brown with the hit.
Just with that foot planted.
See that knee buckle.
Yep.
It's going to be a big loss for the Stampeders, but the good news is Lewis is getting up. Ryan's on the sideline. Will provide an injury update. This is Mr. Yak Yards, 2nd in the CFL to Jamel Richardson.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, one of the things I love about Nick Lewis, so much said in the first game of today's doubleheader about Avon Coburn and the attitude that he brings to the Hamilton Tiger Cats and why you need guys like that in the playoffs. Nick Lewis is exactly that kind of fierce competitor for the Stampeders.
Yak yards representing yards after catch. Drew Tate fumbled the football. The Eskimos have it. It's Munoz. He's off to the races. He's not going to be caught. Damaso Munoz to the end zone. Touchdown, Eskimos. "76-yard romp."
What a turn of events for the Edmonton Eskimo defense. Drew Tate not hit on the play. He's just rolling. Goes to cock back to pass and just loses his hip grip on that football. Munoz, the man who scoops and scores. He's got the convoy. Marcus Howard, Rod Davis. Make sure John Cornish isn't going to get there. Damaso Munoz. His rights came over with Etienne Legaré from Toronto in the Laurent Prefontaine trade late last year.
Drew Tate's second turnover, interception, and then this fumble. This one, though, enormously costly. 70 yards to Pater. Unable to hang on.
Yeah, Tate commits his second turnover of the game here, and you see him hanging his head a little bit, and I love this moment. The veteran, Kenyon Rambo, comes up, maybe a little tough love, gets in his face a little bit and tells him, don't hang your head, we're going to be fine. Comes back over with a little bit more encouragement at the end. You watch a little tap on the hip, let's go.
You get a feeling that Drew Tate, if you've been around Drew Tate, probably said, hey, no worries,
yeah,
I'll be back. That's the kind of player he has become. Harry Taylor, two hands over his head, and Taylor dropped there by Mike Cornell. And this special team is special for the Edmonton Eskimos. But this guy provides the special play right now. Damaso Munoz, 76-yarder to the end zone.
Yeah, part of that Edmonton Eskimo makeover that began late last season when Eric Tillman arrived as the general manager. Acquired this young man's rights from the Toronto Argonauts. He's been a starter since day one of the unsung heroes of this group. Versatile player. He's played inside, he's played outside in that linebacking core. And here, making a big difference. Contributing a 10-point swing with the Stampeders within field goal range on that last play. Turning that into a defensive touchdown.
Eskimos lead 10-8. Again, earlier today, the Hamilton Tiger Cats upsetting the Montreal Alouettes in overtime, 52-44. They'll visit Winnipeg next week in the East Final, and BC awaits the winner of this one. Let's get an update now on Nick Lewis's situation. Once again, here's Ryan.
Yeah, Rod, as soon as the Eskimos scored that touchdown, Nick Lewis kind of looked pretty frustrated, jumped up off of his seat and started running back and forth, testing out that knee. Tested it for a couple of minutes and then finally grabbed his helmet and gave the doctors the nod. So it looks like Lewis is going to be back in this football game. That's a big boost for the Stampeders offense, Rod.
Yes, absolutely. Calvin McCarty. He got banged up on that kick coverage. So Drew Tate, great response in adversity last time after the interception, led his team downfield and scored. Let's see how he faces it this time. First and 10. Stampeders from their 26-yard line. There's LaMarcus Coker, wrapped up, brought down right away. Boy, it's getting heated in the trenches. Ted Laurent with the tackle.
Good to see Nick Lewis back on the field for the Calgary Stampeders. We all know about what this guy does as a receiver. A West Division All-Star again, but also one of the most fierce blocking receivers in the Canadian Football League, an important part of the Stamps running game.
Really one of their spiritual leaders as well. He walks the talk, blocks the talk too. Over the top, and that ball thrown behind Nick Lewis. And he'll scamper over to the sideline, and Very quick 2 and out, resounding 2 and out for the Stampeders.
And no question, Nick Lewis hobbling it after injuring that knee. You wonder if he might have been able to make a little bit better adjustment to that football if he was up to full speed and had full strength in that leg, but the ball thrown behind him on the play. Lewis not able to do much to get back to it.
You will not keep Nick Lewis out of this ball game. Burke Dales. This time punting into the breeze. A 60-yard kick earlier in the game. Very close there as they were converging on him. Jason Armstead near sideline. Nowhere to roam. 10-8 Eskimos. Battle of Alberta. Playoffs 2011 continues. Battle critical to winning.
Yeah, no question. You see, the Edmonton Eskimos have more takeaways, meaning they've created more turnovers than Calgary this year, but they haven't always made the most of those turnovers, as Calgary, percentage-wise, has generated far more points off turnovers. But you see the Stampeders, on the other hand, their giveaways have been very costly this season. 39 giveaways to the tune of 104 points for their opponents. The Eskimos not typically being hurt by opponents scoring.
There's a fumble. Ricky Ray pounces on it. Botch snap. And now we've seen Drew Tate have it slip from his grasp in the pigskin that time. Bobbled by Ricky Ray. Again, there was snow here yesterday. There were snowflakes falling earlier today. It is a little cold and brisk outside, but these quarterbacks certainly not using it as any excuse.
We're not to the point of it being a particularly hand-numbing cold at this point. They've got the heaters on the sidelines. Quarterbacks always have the option to go with the pouch. Ricky Ray's got his on.
2nd and 15 after the loss. Play action. Ray fires to Armstead up near midfield. It's going to be short of a first down by about 1.5 yards. Yeah, it's not the type of weather we've grown accustomed to come playoff time in November when you get to some colder climates. This is actually a pretty nice day here today.
Yeah, no question. When Kavis Reed can wear his sweats outside rather than the parka in Edmonton in mid-November. You know, we've been blessed with some good weather.
So it will be 3rd down. Here comes Damon Duvall again, handling the punting duties. Handled both duties at the beginning of the season. Has to hurry this kick. Big one. Taylor's going to let it drop in the end zone. And will take the knee and give the Eskimos another point and make it a 3-point game. Well, we're on our way. Final 4 next weekend. East Final, West Final, West Final, BC. Waiting for an opponent. Will it be the Stampeders? Will it be the Eskimos? Again, we know Hamilton has advanced to the East Final against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And Avon Coburn comes back to haunt his old mates in the Big O.
Oh, no question, Avon Coburn leading his team to victory. Kevin Glenn, Quinton Porter. Wasn't the full-on 2-quarterback system, but the two of them combined to get it done today.
Crazy finish there. Sent the game to overtime. Right now we've got a close one here. Midway through the 2nd quarter. John Cornish again, right side, burst again. Cornish just continues to gallop. And they are riding their #1 horse right now. 23-yard gain for John Cornish.
And little question, the Edmonton Eskimos came into this football game knowing that they've got to stop Cornish, and you're going to see him stretch things defensively, and then he's going to pick a hole wherever he sees the opening. Gets that whole defense flowing, stretches it out. There's my lane. Up I go to the outside. Good block to the in. To pin things inside by the wideout, Johnny Forzani.
Into Edmonton territory. 86 yards already for Cornish on 8 carries. Averaging over 10 yards a carry. LaMarcus Coker. Half the first down yardage. You know, and John Cornish deserves a lot of credit. This guy is a phenomenal young player. I know you voted him as your favorite or top Canadian at the beginning of the season. And a lot of the rankings in your top Canadians, I know, kind of didn't finish up the way you originally had them, but this one did not change.
Well, John Cornish is about the only guy that didn't get bitten by the Dwayne Ford jinx this year.
There you go.
Everybody else got hurt at some point.
2nd down, 4 yards to go. Drew Tate, pump fake, sideline, open man. Johnny Forzani can't hang on.
Too much time to think about it.
Forzani unaccompanied down the sideline.
Johnny Forzani lines up off the line, giving him a chance to use his speed with that waggle, little wheel type route to turn it up the sidelines. That's what gets him open. That misdirection look. Combination of probably being too wide open and having to tiptoe along that sidelines made that one a tough catch.
What a year for Johnny Forzani, breakout year, and haven't seen too many balls dropped or not caught by number 80. This ball is angled and out at the inside the 20-yard line.
They avoid that penalty by about 4 yards as the ball is spotted out at the 16.
Ricky Ray brings his offense back on the field. Ricky Ray again burst onto the scene back in 2002, his rookie year. And unlike Drew Tate, Ricky Ray was only 23 years old at the time, and of course led the Eskimos to the Grey Cup game. They lost that game to Montreal, but they won the Grey Cup a year later. He has 2 Grey Cup rings and wants to get his team back into the big game again. From the 16, play action and everybody fooled. Darius Bowman, far sideline, tiptoeing. And a first down up near the 30-yard line. 14-yard pickup for Darius Bowman.
And you heard the crowd roar on the fake as Ricky Ray pulled the ball. Well, he probably wishes he hadn't. I mean, you look at this. Look at the lane that Jerome Messam had to run had they handed off the football here. But Ricky Ray pulls it. Good thing this one turned into a big play for Darius Bowman. Otherwise, there would be some serious regret.
The inside handoff to Armstead with that dangerous speed. Knocked out of bounds by Johnny Dixon. Very quiet start so far for Jerome Messam.
Well, it has been. He hasn't gotten a lot of touches, and that was one of the themes as we looked. You heard Ryan Rashog mention earlier, Jerome Messam averaged just 3.7 yards a carry against Calgary, which was his lowest average against any other team in the CFL. But part of the issue was that he didn't get a lot of carries against the Calgary Stampeders during the season. 27 carries over the course of 3 games, or 26 carries. Here, just 3 carries for 6 yards. They got to give the big back. Lots of time with the ball. Let him wear them down.
Ray to Fred Stamps. That's his first catch. The freestyler, Fred Stamps, up near the 47-yard line. Kind of like those Montreal receivers, Fred Stamps can catch anything in his vicinity. Mr. Highlight Reel with a 12-yard pickup.
Fred Stamps working against man coverage from the newcomer, Quincy Butler.
36.
Another outstanding season for Stamps, again a Western All-Star.
First and 10, 47. Play action, there's the rush. There's Darius Bowman out of the backfield. Different look for the Eskimos, and look out now. Darius Bowman to the 10-yard line and dropped.
Well, Darius Bowman boosted his receiving stats in a big way in the season's final weekend with a lot of those yak yards. And here he piles them up again, catching the ball behind the line, but the mistake made, wrap him up. Don't just go for the big collision. Big receiver, that's not going to bring him down. Got to wrap up those legs. But Darius Bowman runs away from that. Brandon Smith recognized the play and was there plenty early. But he went for the collision, just trying to knock out the legs of Darius Bowman instead of trying to wrap him up so he couldn't run.
56-yard running play. There's Messam. There's a touchdown. Well, Cornish has scored for Calgary. Messam has his own for Edmonton. And the Eskimos extend their lead.
And this looks exactly like the one that Ricky Ray pulled earlier. Just a huge hole up the middle for Jerome Messam. Watch the work of the offensive line here. Get a hat on a hat, drive him. Great job by the center, Gordie Hines, to drive his man out to the right side. Messam in untouched.
Just before the 3-minute warning, Schiavone the point after. Has this game ever turned on that fumble recovery by Munoz? The momentum swung completely to the Edmonton Eskimos. 3 minutes until halftime. The Eskimos have a 10-point lead. The West Division semifinal continues from Commonwealth. Jerome Messam, 6 touchdowns in the regular season. Brampton, Ontario native. Cast aside, traded away from the BC Lions after some transgressions last season in the locker room, and this season in the preseason, he has been a gift to the Edmonton Eskimos.
Yeah, absolutely, and I know it was very difficult for Wally Buono and the BC Lions to part company with Jerome Messam. But this young man has made the most of the opportunity provided him here in Edmonton. He's put this team on his back over about the last 8 weeks, helping them to a 4-1 record through the last 5 games.
Under 3 to go before halftime. 18-8 to score. DeMarcus Coker ran over his own player, brought it up near the 34-yard line. I love what you said earlier about the backs not worrying about their birth certificate, the fact they're from Canada, but both of these guys, John Cornish and Jerome Messam, do have one significant thing in common, is that when opportunity knocked, they slammed the door open.
What's up, TSN? What up? We in the playoffs. Let's go.
You know, as the saying goes, luck is what occurs when preparation meets opportunity. These two young men were both very well prepared when the opportunity came along.
Getting a chance to learn, too, especially for Cornish behind a great back. And Joffrey Reynolds. Drew Tate now is in some trouble. Lets it fly. Johnny Forzani with the catch up near the 54-yard line.
Well, Forzani gets credit for the reception here, but you got to love Drew Tate's Houdini act in the backfield to make this happen. Forzani and Rod Williams and Joaquin Bradley, those two Edmonton corners, have been going at it all game here. A little bit of talk back and forth. But right here, Drew Tate ducks out of that tackle from Ted Laurent, steps up and makes that throw.
19-yard gain. Tate hangs in again. This one underthrown for Nick Lewis. It looks like he's still hobbled by that knee problem. 2.5 to go. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, Drew Tate needs that offensive line to be a little bit more firm. They're giving too much ground, letting that pocket collapse. And Nick Lewis struggling a little bit with that left knee. As we saw in that ball thrown behind him earlier, just the ability to change directions quickly with an unstable knee joint, preventing Nick Lewis from trying to make those tough catches.
Tate to the air again. Pocket collapses, flushed out, takes it himself. Drew Tate tumbles over the 48-yard line, and the spot looks like it's going to be a little bit shy of a first down. Maybe a yard short, and Tate is slow to get up.
Well, Tate had an awkward landing, and this wasn't a hook slide, this wasn't a dive. He kind of got caught somewhere in between and really kind of drove his knee into the turf when he went down here.
Yeah, may have stubbed his foot and then...
Well, it looks to me like it's more on the landing here, partner, as he kind of turned to give himself up, and you see kind of a clunk with that knee as he hits the ground.
Right there. On this hard, cooled ground, Drew Tate on the sideline gets the jacket. It will be 3rd down. The spot was 1.5 yards shy. Big kick by Dales into the end zone. Jason Armstead's going to give up 1 and cut the lead in half. 2 minutes to go before halftime, and Ricky Ray has a chance to put some more points on the board. And this second quarter this season has been the magic quarter for Ray and the Eskimos.
Well, that's going according to plan here today. 15 points in the second quarter today for the Edmonton Eskimos.
You know, and often it's the amount of points you score, but also the amount of points you give up in a quarter. And for the Eskimos, they're plus 56 this season in second quarters. The Stampeders, minus 44.
Well, once again, it's sometimes tough to explain why trends develop. But it's certainly following that trend here today for both teams.
Ray hanging in to Messam, his outlet. He's got running room, a first down and more. Jerome Messam spinning down, knocked down near the 50. 13-yard gain. A big back.
Sometimes when you have three receivers like Stamps, Bowman, and Barnes, everybody worries, especially in a scramble situation, about giving up the big play to one of those guys. Everybody forgets all about the running back. Standing out to the side for that little outlet route. Jerome Messam had lots of ground in front of him to turn that into a big play for Edmonton.
Messam again plowing his way. The Eskimos not one of the highest scoring teams in the league, 6th highest scoring. Their offense not really statistically among the league leaders. But again, the turnover factor has been enormous for this team this season. Ability to score points as well. 7 points off a turnover in this game. Certainly a balanced team. Run to pass. This time passing. Fred Stamps was wide open. And Ricky Ray couldn't get it there.
Yeah, rare miss there for Ricky Ray, particularly when it comes to throwing the ball to Fred Stamps. These two have had the magical connection over the last few years. But Fred Stamps found a gap between the layers in coverage there.
That might have gone for 6 with Stamps' ability after catch as well.
What could it be?
Damon Duvall knocked down. There's going to be a roughing the kicker call here. The ball bounces into the end zone. The Stampeders almost blocked it, but Duvall was dusted.
Contacting the kicker. Calgary number 23. 10-yard penalties. First down.
Well, they called 23, but not sure if it was Junior Turner who was in there.
Yeah, it was him.
No question.
And the Eskimos' drive will continue now down to the Calgary 49-yard line. John Huffnagel said yesterday, they have to be more disciplined, can't take bad penalties. That's under the category bad penalty. Ray in the seam. Andrew Nowacki down near the 30-yard line.
Andrew Nowacki just runs the slant from his wide receiver position here. In front of coverage. Underneath. Basically an uncontested throw for Ricky Ray. Easy completion, easy first down.
18-yarder for the Stony Creek, Ontario native out of Murray State. Ricky Ray already 200 yards passing in this first half. Only 2 incompletions. Ray, pump fake, lets it go again. That time he was troubled in the backfield and then had to throw it away. 33.5 seconds left before halftime.
That Calgary defense hasn't been consistent pressure, but there have certainly been times they've gotten to Ricky Ray in that backfield, and you see the difference for the Edmonton quarterback, the guy who's usually one of the most accurate in CFL history. Way off the mark there.
Messam's in the backfield. Ray shotgun. Throwing down here for Ray. Here's the rush. And again open on the near sideline is Nowacki. And this is what the Eskimos have done this season. Talking with Ricky Ray yesterday, you know, it was always, as he said, the Fred Stamps show. We always went to Fred Stamps. And he's been able to distribute to a wealth of receivers this year, and the Eskimos have benefited.
Yeah, you force defenses to balance the field, essentially. Nobody can overplay Fred Stamps. The other side of that play in particular was Calgary trying to bring pressure, bring blitz. with Eric Fraser. Recognition. Ball's got to get out quick. Receivers make their adjustments. Nowacki did. He was open.
7 different receivers already. Ray calls his number, tucks it, takes it, down near the goal line. Ricky Ray hovers near the goal line now. A 14-yard scoot.
The great play call there coming from Marcus Crandall, offensive coordinator for the Edmonton Eskimos. Ricky Ray, not a guy who runs often. The element of surprise. Great right here. It ain't pretty, but it's a first down.
Well, will it be Jerome Messam time again? There he is. Pounds it into that line. 6.9 to go. Ricky Ray wants to call a timeout. 6.9 to go here.
Edmonton.
Certainly can take a shot at the end zone. If you don't get it there, you could take your points and get the field goal before halftime. So they're going to go talk about it with Kavis Reed. The guys are standing by. GMC Sierra live at the half, our playoff edition. Dave Randorf, John Climbing, Matt Dunnigan, Chris Schultz. They're going to tell you about the wild one in the Big O earlier. Crazy finish, went to overtime. The Hamilton Tiger Cats knocked off the two-time defending Grey Cup champions.
Well, it's been an exciting playoff run so far, and we're just a game and a half in. You know, I know Schultz has been a little bit under the weather this week. I'm hoping he can handle the excitement.
Yeah, no, he's getting older.
You said it, not me.
18-9 here. 2nd and goal, 6 seconds to go. Messam's already barged into the end zone for a touchdown. He's throwing. Ray. Touchdown, Jason Barnes. Pandemonium in Edmonton. What a first half that turned on a fumble recovery. The Eskimos find the end zone again.
Well, the Stampeders are again trying to bring some heat. They've loaded up the line of scrimmage. Jerome Messam, blitz recognition, picks up the middle linebacker, Juwan Simpson, gives Ricky Ray time and a clear lane to throw that football. The Edmonton Eskimos offensive line, pretty solid job here in the first half.
Again, the balance, whether it's Fred Stamps, whether it's Jason Barnes, Darius Bowman, Andrew Nowacki. They've been using them all here. 25-9. When early on, the Calgary Stampeders looked like they were well in control. Momentum swung seriously.
Oh, the sudden change of a turnover. The Damaso Munoz fumble recovery for a touchdown. Or Ricky Ray, the guy who's always been questioned for a lack of emotion. Little emotion. To Kavis Reed. Nothing unexpected. Expect success.
Kavis Reed, first year. John Huffnagel, former coach of the year. And will put his thinking cap on in the locker room. And the turning point so far has been this turnover.
Well, no doubt about it. Drew Tate just lost the handle on that football as he was getting ready to throw. Damaso Munoz, the beneficiary, takes it all the way to the house. Gave the Eskimos the lead. No looking back thus far.
And a pooched kick here from Duvall. Only 1 second ticks off. Well, it looks like there is some time left on the clock. The stadium clock says 3/10. And there's a penalty flag. So will there be one more play here for the Calgary Stampeders? And I guess it's going to be thrown out there, and I'm sure people are thinking, might John Huffnagel go to Henry Burris in the second half?
Well, the possibility remains. I don't think the hook is going to come too quickly. I don't think we're going to see Henry Burris start the second half.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness.
Never.
Edmonton number 39. 15-yard penalty, first down.
15-yard penalty. Now we go back. Last meeting between these two teams. Hail Mary right before the half.
And Lewis catches the tip ball.
There is no Hail Mary this time. They take the knee. They're going to the locker room. Both teams. Calgary Stampeders had the early lead, but the Edmonton Eskimos roar back. GM Sierra, live at the half is next.
In that second quarter for the Edmonton Eskimos as they jump out in front. That has been their best quarter all season long, and it is again today. They get one through the air, along the ground, and off the turnover there. The big storyline coming into this one was the quarterback matchup, Jock. The experience of Ricky Ray versus the inexperience of Drew Tate. Let's start with Ricky.
Well, I was wondering if Ricky Ray was going to get an opportunity to do what he does best, because Calgary actually was quite effective at getting to him early. And, you know, Ricky Ray's like a lot of quarterbacks. If you give him time, he is going to hurt you. But when you give a 4 sacks in one half of football, and you look at the score, you're wondering how the heck are they doing it? And this was 4 sacks, folks, in the first quarter and a half. And a sack like this with a delayed blitz, you can understand that. But they did have enough guys in to block it, and they still didn't get it done. Here it's inexcusable. This was a 3-man rush. In fact, this was the first of 2 sacks. 3-man rush, down goes Ricky Ray. And then they went to a lot of play action. Right after that series, you saw a whole lot of this on first down, and he also got his main man involved. And with this guy and his yak yards and what he can do, I mean, here, the play action again, guys in his face, make a guy miss, and he was off to the races, and I'm talking about Darius Bowman. So Edmonton seems to have figured out their protection problems. Calgary gives a lot of teams a lot of headaches with what they do in terms of moving guys around. But if you can't block 3-man and 4-man pressure, you're going to have a long day, and Edmonton's figured it out.
Yeah, they have. And Ricky Ray's 14-17 for 217 yards in the first half. And he's rolling. He doesn't seem to be affected. A lot of talk going to this football game about the young Drew Tate. First playoff game and first game against the arch rival Edmonton Eskimos. Intensity is cracked up. What they're going to need a lot from this kid is this type of poise he showed in the first quarter. Look left, eliminate it. It's not there. Ball security. Snaps to his right. You see it. Hands are up in the groove, and he delivers a ball on time. I'm going to show you how he delivers the ball on time, too. We're going to see it from a different angle. There he looks left, snaps right. Ball's in the air already. Ball's out. Look. The receiver, Robbie Bryant, hasn't even closed the cushion. That's timing. And then the ball arrives, and then the ball is thrown perfectly. Going to need a lot more of this from the young quarterback, Drew Tate, in the second half. And, you know, he looked a little rattled there to me. You know, and Schultz, he looked a little nicked, too, when he went down awkwardly on his knee. And at the half, I saw him limping in the locker room. I'm wondering if we may see John Huffnagel go to Henry Burris here in the second
Possibility, because if he's not 100% physically, he's not going to be at his best for the second half. But how about the Edmonton Eskimos? They can go from last place in the West to the Western Final in 1 year. Remarkable accomplishment. And I think they only got to stop one guy in Calgary, and that's John Cornish. Because if John Cornish has another half of 85 yards on 8 carries, it's going to be a time of possession issue, and they're going to take the ball away from Ricky Ray. And these type of plays set up all other type of plays because you bring that defense towards the middle. Those are 2 power runs. Here is a nice elusive run. It just seems like when you give the ball to John Cornish and he gets into a rhythm on offense, everything else will happen for your football team. And once again, he makes people miss. He runs over people. Hey, if I'm in the locker room, I'm saying, guys, that's the guy we got to stop. If we do, I think you will see Edmonton in the West Final.
Yeah, he's already at his per-game average along the ground. The last time the Eskimos made a division final was actually in the East in 08. They haven't been in the West Final since 2005. They won that one, and then they won the Grey Cup in Vancouver. Welcome back. Prior to kickoff, there is Kasten Waken helped with the coin toss with the Stamps of the Eskimos as today's Scotiabank Kid Captain. For your child to be Kid Captain, enter them at ScotiaKidCaptain.com. Here's the halftime stats, 25-9 Edmonton. Jago.
You know, one of the keys I thought coming to this football game was to ensure that Ricky Ray spread the ball around, got his 3 big guns involved, and I think he's doing that so far. Bowman with 93, Barnes with 46. Stamps with just 12, but I think we'll see more of him in the second half. How about 99 yards here for the young gun? 5 of 10. You know what? I'd say let the kid keep playing. I want to see more from him. Let him work through this.
And there's Munoz with the fumble return for a touchdown. He just spoke with Ryan Rashad.
Damaso, that fumble recovery for a touchdown was such a huge momentum turn in that half. Tell me about it from your end. What did you see?
Man, all I can say about the play was, I just give the credit to the rest of the guys on the defense. Put pressure on the quarterback, and, he just dropped the ball, and we rushing, playing hard, man. I just picked it up and, just took it in for the score.
Wasn't exactly textbook ball carrying. You had it in one hand there. Did you think you'd be able to get all the way when you picked it up?
Actually, when I was running, I felt like I could run faster with it in one hand, so I just, just wanted to keep my stride and not look back and just, get in the end zone.
Also, thanks.
No problem.
Okay, now, if you missed the Eastern semifinal earlier today, well, all you...
Playoff football, baby. Everything it hit destroyed.
Got my game face on. Let's go.
The Edmonton Eskimos riding some serious momentum into the second half here at Commonwealth Stadium. Ryan Rashog right now with Calgary receiver Kenyon Rambo.
Kenyon, some substantial work for you to do in this second half. What was said in between the first and second?
We just got to stick to the plan, man. Play our type of football. We're making the mistakes. They're not. We're giving them the ball. We just got to keep on playing our type of football and score some points.
Quarterback put the football on the ground, ended up in the end zone. You went up and talked to him after. What'd you say?
I just keep your head in it, man. Just relax. You know, things like that happen. You know what I'm saying? We got a long game. It's a long game. Stay focused, and let's go win this game.
Thanks, Kenyon.
No problem.
Here we go, second half underway. Then a dribbled kick. And the Stampeders will start at their 46-yard line. And Henry Burris is going to start the second half for the Stampeders. So the hook is short.
Well, back to experience. Grey Cup champion, the league's reigning most outstanding player. We said it when Henry Burris was taken out of the starting lineup. You likely haven't heard the last of Burris.
3 and 3.
First and 10 from the 45. Burris takes it himself, and Henry Burris, again, the thing is there could be some rust on Henry Burris, starting rust. He has been playing short yardage at times, but Henry Burris has not thrown a pass in a month.
Well, he hasn't thrown a pass in a game, but you'd think that a guy at this stage of his career, I'm not too worried about Henry Burris, a guy who's been around since 1997.
So he gave way to Drew Tate 3 weeks ago. Burris now in charge of leading the Stampeders back. 16-point deficit. LaMarcus Coker on second down has the first down into Edmonton territory. And the experience of Henry Burris in big games is huge. Drew Tate on the sideline. Maybe a combination of the fact, as the guys in the studio said, he got a little banged up, but also look at that number, 5 of 10 only. The interception and, of course, that fumble that went the distance for Damaso Munoz. First and 10, Stampeders. Coker. And once again, Munoz in on the tackle. 6-yard pickup for LaMarcus Coker. So Coker getting a couple reps here early on. Henry Burris, last year's most outstanding player in the Canadian Football League, and the last time the Calgary Stampeders won the Grey Cup, he was the most outstanding player in that game.
Yeah, a situation like this is where it's been important that Henry Burris not hang his head, not sulk. We all know he wasn't happy to lose his starting job, but he stayed in it, he's been supportive, he's remained a good teammate to be ready for this situation.
2nd and 4. And that doesn't help. LaMarcus Coker had it in his hands and dropped the football. That was an instant first down. It will be 3rd down.
We had a little look inside the Calgary Stampeder locker room at halftime. You see head coach John Huffnagel come up, encouraging words for Drew Tate, but lets him know Henry Burris is going to be the guy to start this half. But keep your head up. Still need you.
So the Stampeders have the wind here, and Rene Paredes is going to try a field goal from the 52-yard line. His longest, remember, was his first of the season, a 50-yarder. Here's the kick. It is up, and it is good. Just good. Rene Paredes Big, big kick. (25-12) the score. Well, Drew Tate still in this ball game, Dwayne.
Yeah, we talked about Henry Burris not sulking when he was taken out. Same for Drew Tate, right there encouraging his teammates. How about the official having to lean back here to make sure that ball clears the crossbar? It was that close.
That kick was a 52-yarder. It went 52 yards and 2 inches. Rene Paredes, 13-point game. Hugh Charles, his first carry. Acquired in a late season trade from the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Hugh Charles picked up by former Rider GM Eric Tillman as an insurance policy.
Yeah, adding some depth in that backfield, but also a guy who gives a little different dimension from Jerome Messam. Messam, the big pounding back. Hugh Charles, a scat back, a speed guy. Good acquisition as they try to maintain balance, not just in terms of run and pass, but also in terms of what they do in the run game.
2 backs in the backfield. From the scat back to the power guy. Jerome Messam buries his head and goes forward and will move the sticks up near the 50-yard line.
Jerome Messam got the momentum going there, dropped his shoulder and just moved the pile. About an extra 3 or 4 yards at the end of this one. Crossing action in the backfield to create misdirection. Be ready for a possible play action to pass to Hugh Charles out in the flat off that look.
First and 10 Eskimos again from their 50. Early second half. 6 receivers set. Here's the rush. Ray in trouble. Avoids it. Got out of trouble and then had to throw it away, but Ricky Ray very fortunate he was not sacked on that play.
Well, I'm not sure how Ricky Ray escaped there. He seemed like he was surrounded. Somehow squeaked out. Again, the veteran throwaway here. Never mind the stats trying to get the completion. Just get rid of the football. Charleston Hughes unable to wrap up. All he had was cloth. Ray spins away in that one. He's just thrown to the turf.
Only 4 incompletions for Ricky Ray. Messam behind some blocking. As much as we talk about Messam and John Cornish today, enough can't be said about those guys up front that provide the run blocking. Those O-linemen, both sides doing a tremendous job today opening holes.
Well, and you talk about the play of the O-lineman. Watch this block by the left tackle, Devin Tyler on the play. We've seen Demetrius Morley blitzing a lot, giving them problems with speed. Well, here, he just gets stoned. Devin Tyler gets a little payback on the little guy who gave him a few fits earlier in the ballgame.
Some of the signage at the far side of the field started to blow. Put it back. Wind starting to pick up here. Talked about the gusts. And again, the Edmonton Eskimos will have the wind in that 4th quarter. Calgary Stampeders getting it now. It's really starting to blow now. Commonwealth Stadium, it was built, created in a bowl beneath the ground, so the wind doesn't affect it that much down low, but once it gets up like that, that's what the ball can do. Taylor gives up another single. Make the score 26-12. Henry Burris and the Stampeder offense back when we come back.
Talk about some gladiator candidates in this ballgame. Darius Bowman, sometimes overshadowed by other Eskimos on that offense, but he's come up with some big plays today. John Cornish, a bright spot for the Stampeders, their most dangerous weapon.
Forget about Damaso Munoz. There's Cornish getting some blocking help here. Weldon Brown, the tackle. Calgary Stampeders again off to a good start, had the early lead, but the difference really has been the pass catching and the throwing of Ricky Ray as opposed to what Drew Tate could not do in that first half.
Yeah, the Edmonton Eskimos spreading the ball around, everybody involved and everybody productive. But you look at the Stampeders, Kenyon Rambo, a guy who had a season high for them last time these two teams met. 7 catches in that ball game, 121 yards, has yet to record a reception today.
Always a favorite threat, though, of Henry Burris. Gives it back to Cornish, who is stopped right there. This will depend on the spot. First down marker was at the 45-yard line. See where they mark this. Looks like it's going to be a bit shy of that first down marker.
Well, it's in that territory where around midfield you think about gambling a little bit, and certainly given the situation in this ball game, looking at the scoreboard, John Hufnagel makes a quick decision to go for it.
Henry Burris, who has been used to this stuff lately. He's been the short yardage guy, but now he is the guy.
Yeah, he's the guy who's been getting the reps in short yardage the last few weeks, so he's got to stay and run.
Forward he goes. I don't know. See where the spot is. It looks like it's a favorable spot, and then he will get the first down. The progression of Henry Burris, even though it looks like he was stood up there by the Eskimo front. And a fresh set of downs for John Hufnagel's Stampeders.
Important for the Stampeders to keep this drive going. Sure, in John Hufnagel's mind, yeah, there's lots of time left in the ball game, but they got to get some momentum going somewhere, and going two and punt isn't the way to get it done.
Hurry-up offense here. Two teams riding momentum heading into the postseason. Had mid-season swoons. Stamps won 3 in a row. Eskimos 4 or 5. Time for Burris over the top, and knocked down, cut down by TJ Hill is Romby Bryant.
Kenyon Rambo comes up limping after that one, with Nick Lewis already banged up. It's the last thing the Calgary Stampeders receiving core can afford. Quick crossing route from the bottom of your screen, working towards the top. Yeah, TJ Hill. You saw him stare down Drew Tate for an interception in the first half there. Once again, seemed to have a real sense of where that ball was going.
2-yard pickup, 2nd and 8. Burris sends out his receivers. The rush is on. Henry Burris is sacked. Etienne Legare got to the veteran quarterback.
Etienne Legare lines up on the nose here. Real breakout year for the number 2 overall pick in the 09 draft. Marcus Howard at the end of this one. We saw him give the shoulder to John Cornish earlier. That time he sticks it into the chest of Nick Lewis.
I don't know about you. I would not want to get a shoulder from Marcus Howard or anything else. First sack for the Eskimos. Burke Dale's towering kick. Jason Armstead finally tracks it down and is brought down at the 30. 42-yard kick. 14-point lead. Over 6 to go in the third quarter in Edmonton. Moving closer. Saturday, November 26th. Grey Cup weekend kicks off. TSN gets you ready for the big game. An entire day of Grey Cup features, behind-the-scenes coverage, beginning at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Then join us Sunday for the big game, the 99th Grey Cup. Pre-game coverage begins at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, with coverage of the game beginning at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. TSN, home of the Grey Cup. Two teams going to continue down the path towards the Grey Cup. Winner goes to Vancouver next week to take on the Lions in the West Final. Ricky Ray out of traffic, but could not find Andrew Nowacki.
Well, Ricky Ray, again, lots of time to throw there. Pushed out of the pocket a little bit, but not hurried on his throw, just a little wide. Led Andrew Nowacki by too much on that play.
Both offenses really stalling here at this stage of the game.
And I'm not sure that the Calgary offense has ever really gotten going in this football game. Edmonton's come up with a couple of big plays. The biggest one remains the fumble return for a touchdown by Munoz.
Deep drop for Ray. Now going to the sideline. And Jason Barnes brings it in, but there's a penalty flag as well in the backfield and also at the 30-yard line. 2 flags as Ray delivered the football. Let's see what it is from referee Murray Clark. Good catch on the far sideline by Jason Barnes.
These 2 flags came up late in the backfield, far from the football.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Edmonton number 54. He applied at the end of the play, 15 yards, 3rd down.
Chris Patrick, the right tackle for the Edmonton Eskimos at the end of this football play. You see him here blocking. And once Eric Fraser is down, finishes him with a forearm smash to the back of the head. That's illegal, Rod.
That looked like UFC stuff. Highly illegal, and so the Eskimos bring out Damon Duvall. Once again, Larry Taylor is back, and a big return early in this ball game. He's been silenced by the excellent special team coverage of the Eskimos since then. Downfield again. And the Stampeders will start on the Eskimo side of the field. They're 5.5 to go in the 3rd.
What you're about to see will change the way you look at weather. Presenting the revolutionary Rain-X Latitude wiper blades. Many traditional wipers have 6 pressure points that can create uneven pressure and cause streaking. Rain-X Latitude blades contour to hug the windshield for greater visibility and virtually no streaking. So it's like weather never happened. Outsmart the elements with Rain-X. Get your Rain-X wiper blades now.
Before the ball game, the 13th man flag of the Eskimos was raised by the members of the Grand Prairie Composite High School football team, struck by tragedy, of course, over the last few weeks. Lost 4 teammates in a car crash. The team was put up by the Eskimos this weekend. They played yesterday and lost in the final, provincial final. Coach Rick Gibson and the Grand Prairie Warriors in the house today, and really classy gestures by the Eskimos to have them at practice the other day. Cavis Reed, of course, presented the game ball last week. Such a tough time for that school and that community. A little healing going on today. Raise that 13th man flag. Eskimos crowd rising up here. John Cornish wasn't quite sure what to do there. He's thinking even, I think, about lateraling that football back. Tells you a lot about John Cornish. Most backs would have been stopped for a loss there. He still picked up 4 yards.
Well, yeah, remarkable the way things were stacked up in the line of scrimmage that John Cornish actually managed to pick up close to 5 yards on that play.
99 yards in the game for John Cornish.
Our offensive coordinator Dave Dickinson needs to get the rest of that crew to be as productive as its running back.
2nd down and 6. Burris has time now. Now the pocket collapses and he's going to have to go for it. And spinning, and Henry Burris. Big gain there from the big game player.
No quit on this play. Again, it's the awareness of Henry Burris. He knows he's short of 1st down yardage. He's got a feel for how far he's got to go here. So there's no consideration of the slide. Spin move, dodges Marcus Howard, picks him up the 1st down.
1st down, just outside the Eskimo 35-yard line. Calgary, no success running the football today, but not in the air. Burris again, this time heaves it to the end zone for Bryant. Too far. Little collision course in the back of the end zone. There was a penalty flag back at the 47-yard line, likely a holding call. That's what afforded Burris that little extra time.
I expect this will go against John Gott, working against Tedler on the pit.
Holding. Calgary number 63. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 1st down.
And there is one thing that John Huftagel knows about as we take a look at this penalty.
Right in the middle of that defense. Ted Laurent is a load. Low center of gravity. He's about 6'1", over 3 bills. He just does a rip move, uses that low center of gravity to drive through John Gott. Henry Burris takes a shot from Etienne Legaré on the play.
That's one thing Henry Burris will do, and nothing against Drew Tate's arm. Pretty good. But no one in the league has an arm like Henry Burris. And they're going to have to start stretching this Eskimo defense. First and 20, movement. Marcus Howard's in the backfield. There is a penalty flag.
Procedure. Calgary number 62. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down. First down.
First and an area code now. Procedure against the Stampeders.
That's on the right tackle. Stanley Bryant, watch the right foot as he goes to get into that pass pro stance. Trying to get a jump on the defensive end to that side, Julius Williams.
Well, it will be first down now. Time to stretch this field. But Burris calls his own number. And a loose ball. LaMarcus Coker picked it up, but had nowhere really to run as Weldon Brown was there. So now an obvious passing down coming after an 8-yard pickup. And second and long now for the Stampeders as the clock ticks down within 3 minutes in the third quarter.
Well, with that run game, this is something the Stampeders have generally done well up to this point. We'll see exactly where that ball popped out. Henry Burris double clutched that football, but it didn't really lose possession until he hit the ground.
Now the Eskimo defense has been suffocating in this ball game. Crowd back into it again. The 4-man rush. Burris to the sideline for Johnny Forzani, but that yardstick is the initial first down marker, so well short. 7-yard pickup for Forzani, and Rene Paredes is going to come out again, try to put 3 more on the board. The story Rene Paredes has been this season. Considering the injury to Rob Maver, Paredes takes the job, went to Winnipeg's training camp, was out of work, got called by Calgary and got the job, and has made it from 52 here today.
Yeah, another example of a young guy taking advantage of an opportunity. Undrafted out of Concordia.
42-yarder. Easy for him from there. Big leg again from Rene Paredes, Venezuelan-born kicker out of Concordia, as Dwayne mentioned. First year with the Stampeders, and cuts into this lead. It's 26-15 now, 1:45 to go in the third quarter. And again, Paredes won't have that advantage heading into the fourth quarter because the wind is again picking up here, and he'll be kicking into it.
Oh, exactly. For the Stampeders in general, Rod. I mean, Rene Paredes is the only guy who's really benefited from that wind offensively. They haven't been able to make up any ground on the Eskimos in terms of getting down the field and getting into the end zone.
Edmonton Eskimo team began the season undefeated 5-0, then 2-6 midstream, finishing off 4-1. Complete turnaround for this team this year. 7-11 last year, 11-7 this season. Jerome Messam slipped up. And the ball is loose. Whistles are blowing. Stampeders finish off the play, but it's not going to matter. The play was dead, whistle dead. Messam was down.
Jerome Messam clearly down on the play, down near the bottom of your screen. He's wrapped up with Charleston Hughes. There he's down, and there the ball's out.
Lost his hand warmer on the play. And there's the guy who's been the orchestrator. His comeback season for the Eskimos, Kavis Reed. Ray to Reed, Jerome Messam. Meet Demetris Morley.
Well, we've seen Morley lower the boom a couple of times this year, and that time he caught Jerome Messam with his head turned. Caught him down low.
He hobbles to the sideline. Jerome Messam, already bothered by a lower body injury this week.
Messam barely with time to get his head around on that one. It looked like his left knee might have been buckled in a little bit here as well.
That's one thing Demetrius Morley has brought to the Stampeders this year. Ability to do that. Ooh. Yikes. Hard-hitting Demetrius Morley out of Miami, Florida, University of Tennessee. And now the ball bouncing back. Larry Taylor will induce a no yards call. Taylor Inglis, long snapper downfield. It will be no yards on the play. On the final play of the third quarter. There is a penalty on the play. Point game.
No yards interference. Edmonton number 52. 15-yard penalty. First down.
And the additional interference call as part of that penalty is because he prevented Larry Taylor from actually fielding the football.
That is the end of 3 quarters here in the West Division semifinal. Edmonton Eskimos undefeated when leading after 3 this season. 26-15, the Edmonton Eskimos in the Battle of Alberta. And the Calgary Stampeders who had the early lead in this ball game, but right now their offense is not doing a thing.
No, the Calgary Stampeders had the wind at their backs in that third quarter, but they weren't able to really make much of it. It may have helped them in terms of being within range for a 52-yard field goal from Rene Paredes. But aside from that, the passing game has been virtually non-existent.
And the Edmonton Eskimos, as we were going to break, 10-0 this season. They were only 5-3 leading after 3 quarters back last year in their 7-11 season. They missed the playoffs, but 10-0. They are great finishers.
Well, absolutely, but they may have to finish without the services of their big bruising running back, Jerome Messam, usually a go-to guy at this stage of the game, as we saw him hobble off after taking that shot to the knee.
We should let you know that they are going to run one play here, and I thought that Calgary should have asked about that, because the quarter cannot end on a penalty, and you get the benefit of the win. So they're going to run one play here to finish off the third quarter. And again, a chance for Henry Burris to air it out a little bit. Again, the benefit of this wind, and then they're going to change ends, and then we are going to go officially to the fourth quarter. Jerome Messam looking at that knee on the sideline.
And we'll see how aggressive the Calgary Stampeders want to be with this last play with the wind. Testing out the stability of that knee joint, Jerome Messam.
Very similar hit to what Nick Lewis took a little earlier, but certainly with more impact. So this will be the final play of the third quarter. Burris airs it out, far side, and Kenyon Rambo still having no luck here today. It's the first time they've thrown to Rambo, still has not caught a football. And that is a story, that's a factor.
And in what's been a rough year for Kenyon Rambo, his best game of the season actually came the last time these two teams met, September 9th. 121 yards in that ball game.
Missed 4 games in a row before last week, returning to the lineup with an Achilles problem. So what the teams are going to do now is change sides, and then we are going to begin the fourth quarter.
A little extra time here for Henry Burris and Dave Dickinson to chat. Essentially a double break between third and fourth quarter here.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you by the next generation GMC Sierra Heavy Duty. Never send a truck to do a Sierra's job. We head to the fourth. 26-15. Injury on the field. The Edmonton Eskimos leading, and you'd certainly have to think advantage Eskimos right now. Their defense stifling. Has already led to a touchdown here in this game. They have that impressive record when leading after 3 quarters, and they have the win.
Yeah, all signs point in that direction. And you look at the trends over the course of the year that have sort of played out. The big one being that record after 3 quarters. Very good closers.
Wasn't exactly an offensive showcase in that third quarter from both teams. Only 58 yards for the Stampeders net offense. The Eskimos with 34 yards. There is one of the architects we've been talking about in this game. Defense wins championships. We've got two guys who are championship winners. Rich Stubler up high on the headset. Chris Jones, a little different tact. He stays on the sidelines for the Stampeders.
Yeah, a little more vocal, a little more demonstrative is Chris Jones. Rich Stubler tends to stay out of that spotlight a little bit, but he can't hide that reputation.
See Jerome Messam kind of shaking his head a little bit, shaking that leg out. Let's get an update now as Messam warms up on the sideline. Here's Ryan.
Yeah, Jerome Messam running up and down, back and forth on the sideline. He was on the medical table. Doctors looked at him for an extended period of time. He then got up, tried running around, laid back down, and now he's trying it again. So they're not certain how serious it is outside of the left knee, though, Rod.
Burris goes down.
And again, Rod, you see what happens when you get into second and long situations. Edmonton's got that personnel package. They get another pass rusher on the field and Greg Peach. Get through to Burris.
Third down again. Struggles continue. Offense malfunctioning right now, the Calgary Stampeders. Lots of time, though. Kirk Dales against the wind. Bounces it into the end zone, and again, another single will be added here when Weldon Brown takes the knee. And a penalty flag.
Why?
No yards call.
That's a frustrating one for coaches. There's no reason.
You know, you want to angle that kick in the first place, but the best consolation is you're going to get 1 point. If there's no yards, there's no point.
Yeah, exactly.
No yards. Calgary number 31. That penalty's declined. Single point is scored on the
So
play.
the Eskimos, for field position, will give up the single point. Put it on the board. And it is a 10-point game. TSN brings you live coverage of the 2011 President's Cup from the Royal Melbourne Golf Club in Australia. Action tees off Wednesday, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific on TSN, TSN Mobile TV, and a lot of eyes will be on Tiger Woods on that President's Cup team. Did pretty well in Australia this week. Ricky Ray hangs in. Both defenses have really stiffened here. Tyler Scott hauls it in. Juwan Simpson in his grill. Second down and 4 now for the Eskimos.
And the Calgary Stampeders could sure use a big play from their defense like the one Edmonton got in the first half. Something to ignite this football team.
Ricky Ray has used 8 different receivers. Hugh Charles slips up. And the Stamps will get the ball back again. After a quick 2-and-out from Ray and the Eskimos.
Solid stand from that Calgary Stampeder defense. Now maybe it'll be Larry Taylor in the return unit. Could provide a little life here in the second half.
The Eskimos again with the #1 special teams coverage, #1 punt coverage in the CFL, #2 on covering kicks. And a source of pride for this team. Get it done by committee. A lot of players downfield quickly. This ball bounces out. Down near the sideline where Larry Taylor has nowhere to go again. 26-16 fourth quarter, West Division semi. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by Rona, proud sponsor of the Canadian Football League and its 8 teams. First home playoff date in a while for the hometown Edmonton Eskimos. get to the Grey Cup semifinal, the East Division final, West Division final next week. John Cornish bursting left side. East Division finalists decided earlier. Winnipeg will take on Hamilton next week. Tiger Cats beating Montreal earlier today. First down.
If the Calgary Stampeders could find a couple more John Cornishes, they'd be all set offensively in this ball game, but he's been all they have had. Cornish, 12 carries, 111 yards. Playoff average even higher than his regular season. Jerome Messam, quiet day.
Not much success here in the air, but the tip drill works and brought down by Nick Lewis.
Well, he may be hobbled, but Nick Lewis still comes up with the catch in traffic.
11-yard gain, second catch. Make that a 14-yard pickup. Second catch of the game for Lewis.
Lewis motioning, winds up as the widest receiver on this play, just sits down versus zone coverage. As you can see, he can really only use one leg to get up for that football.
Stamps haven't had many first downs in the second half. Henry Burris off the bench, relieving Drew Tate. Now the pump fake, and again zips one in. And Jabari Arthur has it up near the Eskimo 50-yard line. His first reception.
Well, the Calgary Stampeder offense starting to show some signs of life. Henry Burris getting a little bit of time, throwing the football with some zip.
13-yard hook up here. So Burris gaining some confidence on this drive. Takes it himself, gets a block from Cornish. John Cornish helps out his quarterback. 6-yard pickup for Henry Burris.
Nice job by the offensive line on that play. John Gott essentially tossed the nose guard, Ted Laurent, out of the way.
30 yards rushing for Henry Burris. What a script this would be if he could lead his team back. Certainly
3 and 3.
Well within their reach here. Key second down, 2nd and 4. Cornish turns, powers outside. Munoz brings him down, but a first down and a late penalty flag comes down.
Wonder if this one might be a hold along the sidelines, but likely after first down yardage was gained.
Again, John Cornish, he has his own yak yards. Yards after contact. Looked like he could have been stopped near the line of scrimmage. Those legs just keep moving. 13-yard gain. Here's the penalty.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, horse collar tackle against Edmonton. 15 yards at the end of the play, first down.
That's a huge one.
Sure is.
Horse collar, 15
field.
yards.
Cornish takes this one around the right side. Pick up a block at the end of the play after fending off the arm tackle.
And there it is.
Rod Davis.
Saw he just got his hand up, Dwayne, right there.
Yeah, Munoz readjusted, but too late as the call was made.
Stamps threatening here. In the red zone. Burris pulls it back. Pump fake. And has to throw it away. Nobody home downfield. Was looking for Nick Lewis. Somebody trying to come back to the football, but they could not get open.
Well, it looked like he was trying to slip Kenyon Rambo out to the flat. He came in motion across the formation on this play. Rambo comes across. He's trying to get out to the flat here, but he gets tangled up in traffic. Too many bodies in a small space. Rambo goes down. Burris has got no one to throw to. So he had picks coming or rubs coming from the outside in to free up Rambo. And that collision left him with nothing.
Stampeders again have been deadly this season in the red zone. Need a score here. Burris. Nick Lewis drops it. And again, Rene Paredes is going to have to put one through the uprights.
All season long, Nick Lewis has been the guy atop the league in terms of catching balls thrown in his direction. Having a tough day today. Some that knee has prevented him from getting to, and that one is just unable to hold on.
This is just a chip shot now for Paredes, and it is against the wind. 3 for 3 now, 52-42 and 23. Stamps pull closer.
It has been a tough afternoon for Jerome Messam, who quite likely is finished for this ball game. Already heading into this game with a lower body injury, had a sore lower back, takes a huge hit in the third quarter. And Messam, after talking with doctors, you can see the left knee taking a big shot there. Talked with doctors for several minutes, tried to get up and run it off. He could run forwards and backwards. As soon as he tried to cut in either direction, that was it. He was shaking his head. The word from the team is likely not to return, but you can tell by the look on his face, his afternoon more than likely over. And Dwayne and Rod, this is tough for the Eskimos. Kavis Reed just saying yesterday that the big benefit of a guy like Messam is he gets better as the game goes on and the defense gets worn down, and now they're without that benefit.
And emotional Jerome Messam covering his face there on the sideline. Jason Armstead sprints out past the 40-yard line. 29-yard return, and so Ricky Ray lead is now a converted touchdown. Outstanding first half. Percentage is still up there in the second, but only 3 completions. So the Eskimo offense also has work to do to protect this lead. 9 minutes and counting.
Well, suddenly a one-possession ball game following the most recent Rene Paredes field goal. The Eskimos need to create a little bit of breathing room. It's up to Ricky Ray and this offense.
No Jerome Messam now. Ray in the pocket. Now goes. 6-yard gain. Just past the 50-yard line.
The thing that has always stood out about Ricky Ray throughout his CFL career has been his decision-making. He's not a guy who runs often. He's a guy who throws for high percentages, but understands there are times when you've got to throw the ball away. He knows when to do that. There are times when you have opportunities to run. I don't think Ricky Ray is crazy about scrambling, but he'll do it when he needs to do it.
And the valuability of experience, Ricky Ray having been in big games like this before. And he's going deep for a Darius Bowman behind cover. Just a little too deep. Ball sailed on him. And Ray got leveled as he launched.
Now, Ricky Ray was forced to throw this ball just a little bit earlier than he wanted, and that's the difference in that half step of Darius Bowman. One of the best Edmonton Eskimos throughout this season. Had the chance for the big play. Ricky Ray watching that one from his back. Great reaction from him. Says it all, so close.
Again, another 2 and out, though. It'll be 3rd and 4. Eskimos don't have to be told that they're going to have to keep this away, and watch number 2. And all he can do is step out of bounds. 7.5 to go. Burris and the Stamps down 7. Commonwealth Stadium, the provincial rivals at it. Battle of Alberta. Eskimos took 2 of 3 during the regular season. All the regular season stuff means nothing now, though. Winner moves on, loser moves out. John Cornish trying to ignite his offense. 3-yard pickup. Stamps have their ears pinned back here as we went to break. Terrific kick by Damon Duvall.
Yeah, fantastic, Damon Duvall. And this is a big part of his value to this team. A lot of people no doubt look, those who understand the ratio, and wonder, with Derek Schiavone now kicking field goals, why a team would keep an American who only punts. When you consider the number of punts over the course of a Canadian football game, Damon Duvall is outstanding in terms of turning the field for his team.
And great at angling the kicks. Crowd now brings up the decibel level. 4-man rush. Burris flings one over the middle, and there's Kenyon Rambo's first catch, and it comes with 6:36 to go.
And that's a guy they've got to keep looking to in this offense to get going. Kenyon Rambo on this play, working against zone coverage. There's the hole. Sit it down. Right on time from Henry Burris.
18-yard gain for Kenyon Rambo. Again, the numbers down this year. Season full of injury, but obviously one of the best slot backs in the Canadian Football League. With Lewis nicked up, expect more of Rambo. Kenyon Rambo again.
Well, get him involved. He's one of your best players. Particularly with Nick Lewis hobbling.
Big play offense, this Calgary Stampeder team, whether it was under Burris or under Drew Tate. They had the most big plays in the CFL this year. Big play catches. They have not been able to go vertical. Any deep threats so far.
We've talked a couple times, Rod, about that pocket collapsing, the offensive line giving a little bit too much ground sometimes. In pass protection, you can't develop the deep routes if the quarterback doesn't have time.
Illegal substitution, 13 men in the huddle. Calgary, 10-yard penalty.
There's a big oops.
Keep second down.
13 men in the huddle.
And you're not allowed to create confusion or in those substitution situations when you go between personnel packages. You've got to be clear that when two guys come in, two guys have to be on their way out. You can't have them all in the huddle where the defense has no opportunity to see who's coming in so they can substitute accordingly. It looked like in that one, a complete communication breakdown as they ended up with 13 men when they snapped the ball.
2nd and 11. Here's the rush. Heat on Burris. Flush from the pocket. Lets it go. Incomplete again for Zanny in the vicinity, but unable to complete the pass. And again, Brookdales will come out to punt it away.
The Stampeders did well to move the chains a little bit and get out from under their own goalpost. But Dave Dickinson's reaction speaks volumes here. Frustration with another missed opportunity and time ticking down on the Calgary Stampeders.
Dave Dickinson, who also played in so many big games when he was the marquee quarterback against Henry Burris and Ricky Ray. Now the OC, Dales. It's his leg into it. Jason Armstead, one hopper near his 30. Steps out there after a 49-yard kick, 4:39 to go. Ricky Ray and the Eskimos not only having to protect the football here, but eat up this clock. 4.5 minutes away from a trip to the West Final and a date with the BC Lions next Sunday.
And look at Patrick Kabongo on the sidelines, always fired up to get that offense back on the field. If the rest of the crew can play with that kind of energy, might have a chance to finish this one out.
He'd get excited in a library. He is a fun guy to be around, Patrick Kabongo. There's a little power sweep move now. Hugh Charles cutting back. Chris McCoy has him in his paws. 5-yard pickup for Charles.
And suddenly that addition of Hugh Charles looks all the more astute. The Edmonton Eskimos needing to run the football here down the stretch. Jerome Messam injured. We saw Calvin McCarty get nicked early in this football game as well. So his contributions offensively have been a little bit limited, although he's stayed in the ball game.
Messam has made such an impact on the Eskimos offense. If they do get to the West Final, you wonder if he will be available next week. But first things first. Over the top for Calvin McCarty. Hasn't seen as much time out of the backfield, certainly this year, with Jerome Messam's involvement. But Calvin McCarty has always been one of those dependable, especially second down players.
Yeah, and one of the things that makes him so valuable is his ability as a receiver. As the last play illustrates, he lined up as a tight end, a double tight formation. A guy who's there not just capable as a blocker, but also catching the football.
Eskimos take a minute off this clock in this drive. Inside their 45-yard line. 1st and 10 again. Calgary defense has to come up with some plays now. Ray, play action. Little dump toss to McCarty. Cut down by Eric Fraser. 5-yard gain. 3-minute warning. Eskimos nursing a 7-point lead in the West Division semifinal. The guy who has made the biggest difference, his play, the difference on the scoreboard right now.
Yeah, fumble recovery return for a touchdown. Took that ball with the Calgary Stampeders within field goal range. Took 3 off the board for them, in essence, turned it into 7 for the Eskimos, a 10-point swing in the ball game, a game that Edmonton now leads by 7. Tells you how large that play was.
Here's a large play for the Calgary defense. It's 2nd down and 5. With the clock ticking down inside 2.5 minutes. Ray, and he's incomplete, looking for Fred Stamps, and he got a late flag. Interference call. Fred Stamps pleaded, and he was rewarded.
We'll get a look at the end of this play. Brandon Smith in man
Forward
coverage.
pass interference. Calgary number 28. By rule, it's a 10-yard penalty. First down.
First down, Eskimos.
Now you can make a pretty good case that Smith impeded Fred Stamps on that one.
Penalty yardage about the same in this game. The difference for both sides, defense. Stamps will need their defense to get the ball back. 6 receivers for Ray. Down the sideline for Stamps. Fred Stamps, who made a catch earlier in the season against Calgary. Almost similar to that play. Was able to haul it in, not this time.
But aside from the fact that he didn't catch this football, and there was the potential for an interception on that play, Brandon Smith was in deep coverage on that one. He was over the top. With that ball overthrown, had his eyes on a potential interception. Fred Stamps getting a hand on that football prevented it.
Eskimos going for the kill shot there. A touchdown at this point would pretty much seal it for them. Again, 6-pack of receivers. Here's the rush. Ricky Ray behind cover. Lunges forward, first down. Ricky Ray uses his feet.
Well, people have always questioned the emotion of Ricky Ray. He's not the most demonstrative guy. But I'll tell you, it's clear from this play how badly Ricky Ray wants to win. No hook slide. He hasn't reached that first down marker. Once he gets there, he's going head first to make sure those chains move and his team keeps possession of the football.
Possession and protection critical right now for the Eskimos. 2 minutes to go. They'll pound the ground now. Certainly in field goal range. Hugh Charles. Derek Schiavone again. Young Canadian kicker. Fort Erie, Ontario.
Yeah, from an Eskimos point of view, they probably want to get a little bit closer to feel really confident with a field goal, as this kicking from beyond 40 is not somewhere they've been particularly adept this season.
And when Damon Duvall was doing the kicking from 40, it was suspect at best. 10-point lead would suffice, you think. Ray going for Jason Barnes. Can't lay out. Tried to dive and make the catch. Very close. So now it will be on Schiavone's foot to give the Eskimos a 10-point advantage.
Jason Barnes stretches out. He gets his fingertips on that football. Just wasn't in a good enough position to pull it in. Now, Derek Schiavone, in essence, got this field goal kicking job because of the struggles from this range of Damon Duvall. Duvall has the low percentage. He was perfect inside the 40, just 3 of 14 beyond the 40 this year.
One of the biggest kicks of this young man's career. Bobbled snap. Down near the 5-yard line, Larry Taylor. And it's going to be a long, long field for the Stampeders, but they did not give up any points. And there was trouble from the snap and the hold. That was not on Derek Schiavone.
No, this one doesn't get down clean. Long snapper Taylor Inglis to the holder, Eric Ward. It's Little short, but you see most of the issues for Ward because he struggled getting the ball down. He didn't have time to spin those laces away from Schiavone either.
Eric Ward, the holder, third-string quarterback, unable to spin those laces. So that could come down as a huge miss here because there's a minute 25 to go. But there is a long way to go for the Calgary Stampeders to tie this game. Burris, quick hitter behind his receiver Arthur. And now a huge play upcoming for the Stampeders.
You know, typically you'd be playing 3-down football at this spot on the field. I mean, if you're the Calgary Stampeders, this is kind of worst case scenario, because if you give the ball up on downs, Edmonton obviously scores and makes it a 2-score game and you're done.
This
huge second down here.
This is critical. Must get the first down. Burris pump fake, lets it go. Short. Again for Jabari Arthur. A minute 16 to go.
A little bit of time there, but Jabari Arthur, middle receiver here. Well covered by Chris Thompson on the play.
Not enough time to kick it away and get it back. This is it, folks. This is it for the Calgary Stampeders. Third down. Need to get to the 13-yard line for a first. Three-man rush. Burris is down. The Stampeders are down and out. The 1-yard line. Henry Burris is sacked with a minute and 11 to go, and that will do it.
The Edmonton Eskimos pressure. They go to the 4-man front, bringing Greg Peach in as a defensive tackle. Another pass rusher on the field. Pays off huge as Peach is in on the sack.
Kavis Reed knows his team virtually on its way right now. Kerry Joseph comes in for the short yardage play to seal it and deliver it. 26-19 the score. Joseph hands off. McCarty touchdown. There is a flag on the play.
Well, very possible that the defense lined up offside in a short yardage situation.
It will be an Eskimo touchdown.
Offside. Calgary number 28. Illegal procedure. Illegal formation. Edmonton. No end.
No, maybe not.
Replay the down at the 1-yard line. First down.
So they'll replay the down. The only hope the Stampeders have here is if there is a bobble, if there is some sort of strip. Crazier things have happened.
That's why, in a way, I'm surprised to see Edmonton not just go with the quarterback sneak with Kerry Joseph from the 1-yard line. I mean, the more exchanges of the football you have, every one of those is an opportunity for the ball to be lost.
He hands it again, and another flag. Touchdown, McCarty. Again, both sides of the field, flags fly.
Illegal formation. Edmonton. No end. Offside. Calgary number 98. We will replay the down.
This is getting repetitive.
First down.
It's turned into Groundhog Day.
It has. It's taking a little longer than Kavis Reed would like to hammer that nail in the coffin here. Check formations. And once again, it's McCarty. Third time. Confirmation. Touchdown. And confirmation, Edmonton. You can start booking your tickets for Vancouver and the West Division Final.
Well, they went to the same play 3 times in a row. The Stamps didn't stop it. Calvin McCarty plows it in. BC boy going home next week.
May have a bigger role in that offense next week, too, depending on the health of Jerome Messam. So it's going to be a team that started 5-0, the Eskimos, against a team that started 0-5 with a remarkable turnaround, the BC Lions, in the West Division Final next week. And the Gladiator, well, he did his work early in this ballgame.
Well, we know he came up with the biggest play of the game, but that wasn't all he did. Tomaso Munoz was a presence throughout this football game. Stopping the run, defending the pass, and here it is, the difference in this football game. That fumble recovery return for a touchdown, that gave the Eskimos a lead from which they have never looked back.
Tomaso Munoz, you are our Gladiator. You're going to have a brand new watch. Adjusted to Pacific time. That's where your Eskimos are going to be next week. 33-19. What a remarkable season for the Edmonton Eskimos. And the Calgary Stampeders. Is this the final time we see Henry Burris in a Stampeder uniform?
It seems very likely at this point that Henry Burris will be out elsewhere next season.
Rumors abound. Drew Tate certainly showed that he's capable of taking over with his team. Henry Burris might have changed that. He was able to lead his team back to victory here, but could not. Larry Taylor brought down Corbin Sharoon. And the big question mark, if the Eskimos have one, is right there.
Yeah, running back Jerome Messam, 1,000-yard rusher, finalist for the league's most outstanding Canadian award. Suffering a knee injury here today that will no doubt be monitored very closely over the next couple of days.
Eric Tillman, the general manager who brought him here, and Kavis Reed, who has certainly helped this young man turn his career around as well. Eric Tillman and the Eskimos will be off to BC Place next week. Burris looking for Coker. 50 seconds to go in the Calgary Stampeders season, which could only be deemed a disappointment for the Stamps. After a very good start, 6-2, then question marks, and then, you know, the Eskimos went through a full season facelift. They went through a mid-season makeover with no Joffrey Reynolds. And now there is another changing of the guard here for John Hufnagel that this team will look towards in 2012.
Yeah, absolutely. The Stampeders look to get a little bit younger, and I suspect that the facelift that started around mid-season will continue into the off-season.
Work to do. Burris, down he goes. Julius Williams adds to the sack tally here. Four sacks in the second half for the Edmonton Eskimos. Team galvanized by a rookie head coach, former player here. Jabari Arthur. 3rd and 15 will turn the ball over again. Kavis Reed has done an astounding job here with the Eskimos. There is no doubt. Yeah. Certainly Coach of the Year material.
Yeah, it's likely comes down to, I mean, there will be 3 candidates. You look at the turnaround here, engineered by Kavis Reed, the job Paul LaPolice has done going from worst to first in the East in Winnipeg. And you can't overlook the turnaround in BC. The wizardry of Wally Buono.
Maybe his finest hour, Wally Buono, when everybody wrote the Lions off and some people were calling for Wally Buono's head. Well, the Lions turned it around, and certainly this Edmonton Eskimo team, it has been the year of the turnaround in the Canadian Football League, from Winnipeg in the East to Edmonton in the West. Kerry Joseph, former outstanding player, taking on his role behind Ricky Ray. This will tick it down. Maybe one more play to go. Kavis Reed calls it the Eskimo way. City that's known to win so many championships and known about winning for so long. They didn't win last year. They're winning this year. They're headed to the West Division Final. The Eskimo way paves the way to Vancouver in a meeting with the Lions. 33-19. Maybe the last we see of Henry Burris as a Stampeder. Let's go down to Ryan Rishaug.
Kavis, I wanted to ask you about that play in the second quarter, the fumble return for a touchdown. Your quarterback had just been sacked a couple of times. In your mind, how big a momentum shift was that?
That was huge because we weren't moving the ball very well offensively. Calgary was moving the ball very well. Their run game was going. We needed a big play, and that play really turned the game around for us.
I know you're unfamiliar with Drew Tate. You weren't sure exactly what it would take to shut him down. How were you able to neutralize him?
The biggest thing is that we knew that if we had our pass lanes covered and avoided him having his escape lane, we would have a chance. We needed to force him to be a pocket passer, and we were able to do that well.
You say in your speeches about the Eskimo way, I know probably not a lot was expected from this team at the start of the year, Kavis. How do you feel about what you've accomplished and where you're going?
You know, expectations are built inside that locker room, and external expectations don't mean anything to us. We knew coming into this season that we were going to work very hard and put ourselves in a situation to win football game. The character of this team speaks for itself, and I hope that it continues on.
Thanks, Kavis. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so we are down to 4. 4 teams remain in the hunt for the Grey Cup. 2 weeks away from the Cup. East and West finals next week. See you next week. Football Night in America's next.